So what about this one? If you are married before the age of 20, you have a higher probability of getting divorced. True or false? Yes, that's true. I have seen successful marriages when they were 18. And basically what the research shows, though, so yes, they do find this, that if you are married before the age of 20, you have a higher probability of getting divorced. Yes. These are correlation effects, so the later you are married, the more likely you're to stay married. But I'm not sure, like, if that holds to a certain age. So unfortunately, I can't tell you the truth on that, because I do see people my age who have never been married, and then I just wonder what the research says about them finally getting married, because I can feel at my age that I'm starting to get kind of set in my ways, and I would think that it might be a little bit difficult for me to adjust to somebody. Whereas I think if I was younger and not quite as set in my ways, then it might be easier for me to adjust to someone. But who knows? I'm just talking. I don't know the research on later people. I should probably look that up. But as I'm starting to lecture here, I'm going off of what I know. So, but what I do want to tell you, the reason why I chose these questions is because I felt like I had something to say about each one of them, about the research that I know. And what they found, and the reason why I chose this question is what they found is the people that make it, it's not that their personalities are necessarily more suited for each other. It's not like a certain age so much. It's not, there's basically what they found, whether or not a marriage succeeds or fails, is how much the people are willing to hold on. Are they willing to hold on no matter what? Because they've looked at that. I remember that research, that it's not that people who have successful marriages have less problems. It's just they hold on through the rough times. So I think what determines ultimately whether or not your marriage succeeds or fails is how much are you willing to hold on. And it's so funny because just yesterday in my Psych 43 class, we play a game called High-Low. And in High-Low, I asked, and one guy said, he's like, oh, my high was that I went to my grandparents, I celebrated their 64th wedding anniversary. 64 years, you guys. Wow, that's great, right? And so I said, oh, do you live with your grandparents? Maybe they could come in and give a guest lecture. And he was like, I don't know. What would you want them to lecture on? I said, oh, how to have a happy marriage for 64 years. Like, what's their advice? It would be fun to hear what they say. And this is what his answer was. His answer was this. To be honest, just because they've been married for 64 years, I don't think they were happily married. So there's kind of what I'm talking about is, yes, there's marriages that last for a long time, but was it just because they chose to stay together? And like, is that the life that you want? Or, I don't know. I think the ultimate life would be to find somebody who you can spend the rest of your life with, but also I would say that we also determine our own lives, and so if you found yourself in a marriage that just didn't seem to be savable, I guess I would root for you, but I don't know. So in any case, I don't think it's any, I think that it would be better if you waited to get married, because you learn more and more about yourself. But I have seen people get married at a very young age and be stable. And I think the be-all and end-all is how much are you going to hang on? And that's something that you'll have to determine for yourselves. So I've only been talking for about 4 minutes. So I feel like I'm going to finish this slide and then I'll go on to the next one, okay? I love this next question. It's like my favorite. Research has found that people spend more time planning the wedding than planning for a good marriage. Right? Oh my gosh, that is true. Did you know that I think that this class and these lectures that I am giving you right now may be the only academic advice that you get regarding marriage? And if you watched that video that I put up there about what makes life happy, the longest study on happiness, is they found that it's the strength of your relationships. Like, you having a strong social relationship is one of the biggest determinants of whether or not your brain stays healthy, your body still stays healthy. They've even found that you make $121,000 more if you, over your lifetime, if you have happy relationships. But yet, we're never given any schooling on how to have a great relationship. So we spend all this time planning for the wedding, but we don't take the time to do like the course project that I have for you. Like, hey, what are we going to do for this 5-to-1 ratio? Hey, how am I going to show you that I love you? Hey, what's my love style? What are my attachment styles? Like, what will I stand for? What does it take? I think that 5-to-1 ratio is something that absolutely should be taught like in elementary school, because it doesn't just hold for like marriages, it holds for friendships, it holds for your relationships with your kids. Is if you have a negative experience in a relationship, then you have to make up for it 5 times over with positive. The positive has to strongly outweigh the negative. Okay, let's go to the next one. The average time for a first marriage to culminate in divorce is 7 years. So you know what? I do see this 7-year thing like in my personal life. Like, I see changes happen every 7 years. And for those of you that are Bible fans, you know that there's a 7-year kind of thing in the Bible too. However, this one is actually false. The research shows that the average time for the first marriage to culminate in divorce is actually 4 years. 4 years. Wow. So I'm going to stop here, and we will pick it up in the next video, the rest of the questions.